Thank you Mo Saeed and Trophy for pledging on Patreon. What's up guys, and welcome to FPL Today. I'm the man in the know, JNO, and welcome to a video around the new FPL players from foreign leagues. This is where we go over some players you may not know the underlying stats about that are now additions to the Fantasy Premier League game and try and decide if they can have a big impact on our Fantasy Premier League season. So if this is something you're interested in, do consider subscribing to the channel, hitting that like button and that notification bell so you are told when we go live, because we live stream. I've literally just finished one right before I started recording this video, and when videos go live. And quickly, a special shout out to our partners who have provided the stats for this video, Fantasy Football Fix. Here's a quick advert from them. Analyse your FPL season with the most comprehensive artificial intelligence tools only on fantasyfootballfix.com. Compare your statistics against the elite managers in the game using 10 unique tools combined with Opta data. Check fantasyfootballfix.com pre-season now and review your season data using the most powerful artificial intelligence platform. Click the link below or head over to fantasyfootballfix.com/preseason for analysis on your 2018-19 season. So let's get into the video, and we start off with the episode criteria. This is just where I basically explain to you guys how I'm looking at this so you completely understand my point of view and where I'm coming from. We are looking at players that the transfer has been finalised for. So we are not looking at players that could be joining the Premier League. The ones I'm talking about are the likes of Dybala, although it looks like that transfer is not going through. The likes of Bruno Fernandes, who is heavily linked with some clubs and likely to come in. João Cancelo, who could be joining Man City, who could be a very, very interesting player if he does so. We are looking at the likes of players that are definitely joined their club, like Moise Kean, although I don't think I've actually included him, and that is because I don't think his underlying stats are actually that good. However, he's a very raw talent and could have a very good season. I just don't think the data is there for me to really push him as a good pick just yet. Which moves on to my next point of I must believe there is a good chance they can convert their form from the league they've come from to the Premier League. So that does mean that I'm not necessarily looking at players that have come from the Belgian league. I think Wesley at Aston Villa is a massive one where he could do amazingly well, but the Belgian league pales in comparison to the Premier League, how it actually stands up against each other as far as talent and quality. And then stats are considered over potential. This is another point against the likes of Moise Kean. I feel like he has great potential. I'm just not sure that it could be realised in this season. So let's get on to the first player, and the first player and the one I'm most excited about, and I had to start this video with, is Nicolas Pepe at 9.5 million. I'm really excited about this transfer. I think it could be absolutely huge. I think Pepe could be the equivalent of a Salah coming to the league, really breaking into those elite class midfielders that we rely on to get us a lot of points. I'm not saying it definitely will happen. I just have that feeling about this player. Other people don't necessarily have that feeling, and I can be wrong. I'm not some guru who knows exactly what's going to happen in the future. But Nicolas Pepe, 9.5 million. Yes, potentially overpriced for a new player to the league that isn't proven. But I think he comes in with stats that FPL wanted to make sure we didn't get an easy bargain transfer to bring into our sides. And potentially they realised they made a mistake with the likes of Pulisic, and they weren't going to make that mistake with Pepe. Minutes for Lille in the 2018-19 season, we can see that he had 3,332 minutes played, 22 goals, 11 assists. That is ideal. I love a player that has 22 goals and 11 assists. I think everyone should. Anything over 10 and 10 is what I look for. That is kind of my benchmark. If a player gets over that, I'm immediately interested. Shots per game was at 3.1 shots per game, key passes at 1.8 a game, and successful dribbles at 2.7, so he can make things happen by himself. Average rating at 7.62. What I do like is this is an improvement on the season before. Less minutes played, 2,846 minutes, but you got 13 goals and 4 assists. Shots per game was at 1.8, key passes at 1.1, successful dribbles at 2, and an average rating of 6.91. So I can see the progression as a player, and you can definitely see the progression from when he played for Angers. Probably said that so wrong. 2016-17, not as good a side as Lille, 3 goals, 1 assist, a lot less time played however. Shots per game was at 1.4, key passes at 0.6, successful dribbles at 1.1 and an average rating at 6.53. But you can see how he's improving as a player, and 22 goals and 11 assists, even if 8 of those were penalties, those goals, that's still 14 goals and 11 assists, which I think is the type of player we need to be keeping an eye on. The next one we're looking at, and I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong because I don't know if you pronounce the H or not. Is it Sebastian Harlot? Sebastian Harlot? I've said it wrong already, but the new West Ham signing from Frankfurt to West Ham, 7.5 million in the FPL game. This is a promising one. Now, he played up top alongside Jovic, who has now moved to Real Madrid. From what I've read from a Frankfurt fan, there's the potential he could be an ideal fit for the West Ham side. And he's going to have the likes of Lanzini, Fornals, Felipe Anderson, Yarmolenko, a lot of talented players playing behind him that could create great chances for him. He seems to be one of those players that needs chances created for him, and he could get that at West Ham this season. A lot is said about Harlot making Jovic better and Jovic making Harlot better. As I've not watched the games Frankfurt played, I can't really make that decision of who made who better. But for Frankfurt last year, 2,181 minutes, 15 goals, 9 assists, just shy of that beautiful 10 and 10. Shots per game, 1.9, key passes, 1.3, successful dribbles, 1, average rating at 7.55. Those are good stats. If he can convert that to the Premier League, that would be very, very nice at 7.5 million. Then got Frankfurt 17-18 season, more minutes played, 2,352 minutes, 9 goals, 4 assists. That's before the partnership between him and Jovic really took off. That's still decent, but not really what you want for 7.5 million. 1.3 shots per game, so we can see the progression from one season to the next. Key passes 1 and successful dribbles 0.5 with an average rating of 6.96. So again, you can see the progression on every single underlying stat. And then in the Dutch League, in the Eredivisie for Utrecht, probably said that wrong as well, 2016-17 season, 3,224 minutes played, 15 goals. Again, you can see he can score over 10 goals, 5 assists, not as many as he got for Frankfurt in 2018-19. Shots per game at 2.7, so we can see in the Dutch League he was a bit of a bully before he got his move to the Bundesliga. Key passes 1.4, successful dribbles 1.1, average rating 7.45. What that suggests to me is in the Premier League he may take a season to adapt, which isn't ideal because if we want to put him into our FPL sides, we want him to start scoring straight away. So this is why I am of an opinion to wait and see with him, but I'm definitely interested, especially with all the attacking talent right behind him that could create him plenty of chances. Next up we have Trezeguet at 5.5 million coming from the Turkish league, the Superliga. Now, to be honest, I don't view the Turkish league as the equivalent of the Bundesliga or the Ligue 1 with the last two players I spoke about. However, the stats are still decent for a player that is coming into the game at 5.5 million. If you're looking for a Aston Villa midfielder, you've already got the likes of McGinn, who is a yellow card magnet. You've got Grealish, who minutes-wise didn't get that many minutes last season, potentially because he was always hacked down, apparently, by players in the Championship. But you've got Trezeguet as well, who may go under the radar. For Kasim Pasa, hopefully I said that right, 2018-19 season, 3,058 minutes, got him 9 goals and 9 assists, just shy of that 10 and 10. Shots per game, though, was at 4, with key passes at 2.3 and successful dribbles at 3.3, with an average rating of 7.44, which is decent. 2017-18 season, 2,652 minutes played, 13 goals, 6 assists. Again, just shy of over 20 goal contributions. Shots per game was lower, 2.1, so you see the progression in the underlying stats. Key passes 1.3 to 2.3, successful dribbles 3.1 to 3.3. Potentially he was unlucky last season to not improve on his actual goals and assists if we look at the underlying stats. He actually got a better rating the season before, a 7.53. So it looks like a player that's improving, but potentially was unlucky last year not to get better goals and assists than he got the year before. But I do like the looks, and he will be one on my shortlist of Trezeguet at 5.5 million. Next up, we've got StMaximin, who I don't know the price of yet, but has joined at Newcastle United. Now, a lot of people have been looking at Joelinton, but I actually prefer the look of StMaximin compared to Joelinton if we just base it off of the underlying stats from his season in the Ligue 1 compared to Joelinton's seasons in the Bundesliga. Whilst I was very down on Newcastle initially when they lost the likes of Perez, couldn't get Rondon to re-sign, and just the fact that they didn't keep Rafa Benitez, which still boggles my mind, they do seem to be trying to make good moves in the transfer window. I'm not sure Rafa Benitez is watching going, where was this money when I was manager, but never mind. StMaximin is one of those very promising youngsters who last season, 3,914 minutes, that's plenty of minutes played, 6 goals, 3 assists, 2.2 shots per game, 1.7 key passes, 4.2 successful dribbles and an average rating of 7.21. Now, if the price is cheap enough, 6 goals, 3 assists is okay. Ideally, we want to see those numbers improve on the goals, and he actually got less assists than he did in the season before. The season before, he played less minutes, which we have to keep into account, but he got 3 goals, 7 assists, 1.3 shots per game, 1.5 key passes, with successful dribbles at 3.6. So we can see he's very successful at his dribbles, and average rating at 7.15. And then the season before at SC Bastia, again in the Ligue 1, 2,670 minutes played, 3 goals, 2 assists, probably the worst return out of these stats. Shots per game was actually at 2.1 though, which was better than his 2017-18 season. Key passes was the same at 1.5. Successful dribbles again, 4.3, best season for successful dribbles. An average rating at 7.06. So there's potential there, but also the stats, 9 goal contributions if his price comes low enough. 2018-19 season, 9 goal contributions isn't awful, and he could fit into that Newcastle side in a positive way that will see those numbers improve. And I just like those numbers more than I like Joelinton's, which some people may disagree with me on, but that's the way I see it. And then we got the final one, and it is Patrick Cutrone. Hopefully I've said that right. 6 million, an alternative to the likes of Jota at 6.5 and Raul Jimenez at 7.5. Now, I will put an asterisk next to this. I do believe he is going to be almost like a rotation option for Jota and Jimenez, but I think Jota and Jimenez are still the favoured options for Wolves, and Cutrone has been brought in to strengthen the squad with the Europa League in mind. Now, don't get me wrong, seemingly very expensive player, but Wolves are a side clearly with ambitions to keep improving. Last season at Milan, I got told that he's a player that tries very hard and is in the same sort of mould as Raul Jimenez, but there's still a lot that he can improve on his game. And what you can see from the 2 different seasons, although the minutes are the same, he actually had a lot better stats in the 17-18 season than he did in the 18-19. We start with the 18-19, 1,438 minutes played, 3 goals, 2 assists, 1 shot per game, key passes at 0.06, successful dribbles at 0.1, average rating at 6.31. All of that is beaten in the 2017-18 season, which he got 1,512 minutes played, which is more, but he got 10 goals and 2 assists, 12 goal contributions, 1.6 shots per game, 0.5 key passes, so that dropped. Successful dribbles at 0.2, clearly not that good at dribbling. Average rating at 6.60, so he actually did better in 2017-18 than he did in 2018-19. So I think he's been brought in to strengthen the squad, but I don't think he is going to oust Jimenez or Jota. But if an injury happens to one of those, potentially Cutrone could be a good option at 6 million. Anyway guys, hopefully you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe, as well as that notification bell so you know when my videos go live. Also, we are going to live stream regularly now. We've got the setup sorted. Daughter's old enough to be sleeping in another room, if you know the story about why I stopped live streaming. So hopefully we're going to get plenty of content out on this channel. Sorry, it was a bit of a slow pre-season. Again, unfortunately, issues got in the way of a lot of things. A lot of behind the scenes work, but we're getting there. Thank you to Fantasy Football Fix for being a sponsor of this video. Much appreciated, helping me improve everything that you see around you. Go check them out in the link in the description, as well as checking out my Patreon if you are interested in joining a community. For $1 a month, you can join a community with a Discord, where I plan to hopefully do some calls from you guys asking me questions on the Discord channel, as well as having a monthly and a season-long mini-league, and we'll see what else we can do. I'm open to ideas, so join the Patreon and you can give me ideas on there. I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game.